We are stacking the deck for today's episode of Total Extreme Wrestling. My name is Brendan Plays because this is Winter is Coming. It's a special edition of Dynamite, and of course we've got Rampage and Aew Dark as well, as we continue to build towards our Royal Flush pay-per-view, which will be next week. And obviously this is our American version of a pay-per-view, because when we go to London for the Royal Flush pay-per-view, it's not going to be as good of a show. It's going to be a bit of a struggle, just simply because, of the fact that we're going to be in the UK region. So this week we're going to try and make sure that we have a great episode of Dynamite, a big edition, as we kind of blow off a few rivalries and kind of set up for what is to come in the future going forward. So, well, we might as well jump straight into it. So let's kick it off. So we do have Winter is Coming. We have our big edition here. We got the Super Elite versus CM Punk's team. We got Paige and Archer for the TNT Championship. But we're going to start things off with some local talent. We've brought in a lot of local women to wrestle some of our girls to see kind of, is there any talent out there that maybe we could pick up? Or also, can we try and enhance our women's division a little bit? So let's jump into it. So Danny Jordan is one of those. She had a one-on-one match against Chris Statlander for a 43. Haven't used Statlander for a while, and I want to try and get her back into the mix. The focus has been on the women's tag team division. So someone like Statlander, who's not in a tag team, has missed out a little bit. She picked up a win over Danny Jordan in a 43 rated match. Those two had pretty good chemistry. Killian King took on Abaddon in our next match, 31 rated. Abaddon defeated Killian King, of course, and she wasn't bad, 34 from her. That's probably one of her better performances, and the good news about that, it was a 10-minute match, it was a longer match, and she was able to perform at a fairly decent level. We haven't been able to use her too much because she's just been bad in the ring. She's just not over, and she's just bad. So if we can try and build her popularity a little bit there might be something there for us to use. Renee Mitchell and Santana Garrett teamed up to take on Superbad. Superbad picked up the win in this one, 37 rated match, as we try and build Superbad up and give them a bit of momentum boost. Kiera Hogan had a promo on the pre-show as well, as she was interviewed by Alex Marvez. Just want to see what her promo skills are at. Is there something there that we can try and work with? 33, yeah, it's pretty average. So, moving on. First match of Winter is Coming. 79 rated match between Adam Page and Lance Archer for the TNT Championship. It makes Adam Page have his third defense for the TNT Championship as he picked up a win over Lance Archer. We did go with a clean win. Now, I figured, okay, it probably isn't a good idea to have Lance lose clean, considering he's coming off a big win with Paul White, but yeah, I just figured, look, Adam Page is the star here, Lance Archer, clearly, big difference between the two in their star qualities. So I figured it would be better for Paige just to grab a clean win here. I'm not really sure where the TNT Championship is kind of headed at the moment. Adam Page is the champion, and we've kind of got him in a role where he's just going to continue to blossom and have really good matches. But who does he lose the belt to? The first person that comes to my mind, is probably a turning Miro. Turn Miro heel and have him grab the belt and have a big monster run with the championship. That's probably what I would think would be the most, likely thing to happen, because there really isn't any other heels that could really grab the title. MJF is available, but that would be a step down for him, considering he's a two-time world champ for us. Kenny Omega doesn't need it. So in terms of other singles heels, Chris Jericho's the only other one, so there really isn't that many options for Adam Page. Christian Cage, yes, but I don't think he needs the belt at this stage of his career either, so yeah, a bit tricky, but we'll have to try and think of where we're going to head with the Adam Page and the TNT title. Ideally, I actually wouldn't mind having the belt move down the card and get someone like Ricky Starks with the championship, because then you have so many mid-card guys like Bobby Fish, Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, even Darby Allin. There's so many mid-card guys we could have with Will Hobbs, another one, that we could have feuding for that title, whereas Adam Page is a fully fledged main event guy. He should be feuding for the world title. So I think we have to try and figure out how do we get the belt down the card without impacting Adam Page too much. That might have to be where we go. Anyways, Adam Page took a big bump in this match to try and enhance it. Page 82. Lance Archer was good as well, 71. Couldn't ask for a much better match between those two. We have the Super Elite cut a promo on CM Punk's team ahead of tonight's big main event. 83 rated for the promo. Good stuff to try and build the storyline. Jurassic Express took on Team Taz FTW. 68 rated match. Really good. In the end, Brian Cage pinned Luchasaurus to grab the victory. So we had Cage beat Luchasaurus. That way it still keeps Ricky Starks and Jungle Boy, that rivalry going. Also, it's another subtle hint to Brian Cage as well that he's still a big part of this team, that he's the reason why, they won this match. So, just quickly, Jungle Boy was the best of the match, 69, Cage 66, Starks 58, and Luchasaurus 61. Luchasaurus needs a bit of a gimmick touch-up as well. So yeah, this is why we've kind of gone in that direction, but still, I feel like in the end, Jungle Boy will beat Ricky Starks, so that's kind of why we also gave FTW the victory here as a precursor to the eventual loss. And we talked about it a second ago, Ricky Starks argues with Brian Cage about the result of the match. So Ricky Starks, obviously having such a huge ego, he wanted to be the one to win the match for the team. So he's actually kind of annoyed at Brian Cage that he grabbed the win for the team. So, Brian Cage is like, well, hey, we won. Who cares who got the pinfall? Doesn't really matter, does it? Well, in Ricky Starks' mind, it does. So it does create a bit of tension between these two. Is there a potential, exit here for Brian Cage out of Team Taz? I mean, you probably could say yes, but then what? What does Brian Cage do? Is he going to have success as a solo, as a babyface as well, with 60 popularity? I don't think so. There's so many guys way ahead of him, and even in the middle of the card, we talk about all these guys we're looking to push. Jungle Boy would go ahead of him. Darby Allin would go ahead of him. Will Hobbs, when we eventually get him there, he would go ahead of him, just because they're guys that we're probably more interested in pushing than a Brian Cage. Plus, someone like Brian Cage with his size, his power, his strength, and just everything about him, he's got to be a heel. So, yeah, 70. Next up, the Pinnacle cut a promo. So just had the whole Pinnacle here, all in talking opportunities as well. So all of them cutting promos here, all getting a chance to speak. MJF, of course, the star, but Wardlow did well. Cash Wheeler did well, but Sean Spears and Dax, not so much. So 67. We're trying to keep the Pinnacle a bit more relevant. We want to keep this group strong. No doubt they've taken a bit of a hit now that MJF's no longer the world champ. So we have to try and get a way for the Pinnacle to remain as one of the top, factions in AEW. Does MJF get another belt, maybe the TNT Championship, or does FTR grab those tag team titles at some point? That's what we have to try and think about. Eddie Kingston and Jake Hager went one-on-one. So we veered a little bit to the left here, away from both of these guys' rivalries, but we did link it all together. So, of course, Bobby Fish's last match against Orange Cassidy, Eddie Kingston got himself involved and cost Bobby Fish the match. Well, this is where we've done it here in the reverse. Jake Hager and Eddie Kingston. Bobby Fish this time interrupts and costs Eddie Kingston the match. So the tit for tat there between Kingston and Bobby Fish as that rivalry continues to heat up. Jake Hager grabs a win to make him look good. Kind of a bit of a rebound after losing pretty badly to Will Hobbs. We had Will Hobbs ringside as he's watching on. He's ready to fight Jake Hager. He wants Jake Hager in a rematch to prove that it wasn't a fluke. So he's watching on. So it all ties together in the end. Eddie Kingston 51, Jake Hager 59, 63 rated match. Pretty good stuff. Next up, Jade Cargill officially signs with the Portfolio. So she will join Lio Rush and the Acclaimed in their group. As Hikaru Shida, she interrupts it and says it won't help her in their match. So Shida remaining confident, believing that she can sign with anybody, it still won't help her in their upcoming women's title match. Not sure when that match will take place. It could have happened on this card, but I feel like there's still more build to go with it before we eventually get to it. So 53 is a good segment, venting and improving that storyline. So Jade with the Portfolio just gives her another layer to her act. Lio Rush can do a bit of the talking for her as well. Allows Jade to, stay on TV probably a lot more without having to do as much. because, Jade's someone that, you have to kind of keep her special. Even her appearance is limited because she's such a big deal in the women's division. Having her out there talking all the time, overexposing her, probably isn't a good move. This way, Leah Rush can continue to hype her up. Max Caster can hype her up in his raps. Whatever. They can continue to build Jade Cargill's brand without having Jade Cargill having to do it herself all the time. TJ in the Inspiration had their rematch for the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships. 47 rated match, and TJ able to get the victory. Anna Jay pinned Jessie with a roll-up, so escaping with a quick win to save the day, to keep the belts on them. The first title defense ever for the World Tag Titles in the women's division. Solid match, 15 minutes we gave them, so we gave them plenty of time to see what they can do. Anna Jay 40, Tay Conti 35. Good stuff from both those women. They are both developing and both doing really well. Jessie 47, Cassie 46. So unfortunately, Inspiration, they do take some L's here as we do try and put over Tay J. But what it has done is we've established another top team. Instead of having one really standout team that has way more popularity than the rest in the Inspiration, we've ended up having Tay J join them around that 40 mark in some areas, and they can now be one of the other top women's tag teams. There's no doubt we still need another 2, 3, 4 women's tag teams to make this division legitimate, but we are heading in the right direction. We've at least established 2 top women's tag teams. Brandy and Red Velvet are somewhat there as well. We just need to have Superbad join them on that same level, and we've got a really nice foundation set for this women's tag division. Next up, Team USA and Team England signed the contract for their big match next week. Nick Aldis out there as well as one of his special appearances. Nick Aldis got a chance to talk. We gave him promo time. We gave Dustin Rhodes promo time as well as Cody and Park, of course. So hopefully that will develop both of those guys ahead of the match. So the match will be Park, Ogogo, Sabian, and Aldis taking on Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, and the Varsity Blondes. So I don't know if the match will be so amazing, but it still should be solid. And of course, the big match will be Cody and Park in England. So I'm looking forward to it. It's something a little bit different. It's a chance to try and put over some different guys as well. And that's what we've been trying to do with Cody. We're trying to get the Nightmare family as a whole over. We're trying to, use Cody and his ability to make other people look good. We're trying to make that happen with a lot of different people. And Park, he's able to have such an amazing match as well. So no doubt Cody and Park will deliver, and maybe they'll make the other guys look good in the process. In the main event, we had the Super Elite versus CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Darby, and Malakai, 83 rated match. The Young Bucks, 82 apiece. Adam Cole, 81. Kenny Omega, the best on his team, 91. Darby, the worst of the match, 71. Malakai, underwhelming as well, 76. Danielson, the best overall for his team, 89. CM Punk closely behind with 88. CM Punk's team did grab the win, and it was a 25-minute match. No DQ, so the rule book thrown out the window. Anything goes in this one, and there we have it. So I don't know if this will be it. I think it may be with the Elite and Punk and Danielson and Co. We might have these guys move in another direction. We might even potentially have Darby and Malakai come for the tag titles from the Young Bucks and maybe have that and continue that rivalry. But it might be time to have CM Punk and Bryan Danielson move on, and Kenny and Adam Cole can start focusing on something else as well. Because at the moment, a lot of our roster is tied up in this feud, which is good. It gives us a really good direction every week. But, there's so much star quality here, all in one rivalry. It can be a little bit challenging to keep the show qualities up when so much is devoted to one rivalry. So 83 in the end. I'm pretty happy with that. I feel like, we could have maybe hit 85 plus with so much talent involved. But, there was a couple of weaknesses. I suppose Darby Allin being one. Malakai was pretty poor as well, so we could have got a little bit more out of him. And post-match, Team Punk celebrate their big win. Only 69 for that one. That's a little underwhelming. But nonetheless, we had a decent rivalry there. I feel like we started really strong with that rivalry. I suppose in the last couple of weeks we've maybe fallen off a little bit with the quality of that Punk and Elite rivalry, but now we can start to maybe focus on something different with both guys. Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, both babyfaces at the moment, so maybe we could turn one, or maybe we can just continue on. Maybe there's an MJF feud that we can work with, Chris Jericho we can work with in the Inner Circle. There's so much we can do. We're only just really getting started with both those guys. But overall, Winter is coming, a 78 rated show. So, post Dynamite, before we get there, we are going to sign Hook. He's someone that I've kind of just forgotten about, but in real life, he's having a match on Rampage, so I figured, well, it might be time that we bring him in. In terms of his wrestling ability, I guess it's a little bit unknown what he can do. I know he's brand new to the business, so he's 22. He's in not bad shape. He's certainly working on his overall physique, his skills in the ring. He's kind of working on everything at the moment, but he might be a good addition to Team Taz for us, just to kind of give them another layer, because at the moment it's just Starks, it's just Cage and Taz. So adding in Hook, it gives someone that Ricky Starks can kind of work with as well, and have, obviously send Hook, that thing going on. So we've just imported him over. Apparently he's got 35 popularity in the Southeast to kick him off. I mean, that's probably a little bit too high, but, I might take it. I'm probably not going to say no. If they're going to give him 35 as his base stats, I'll take it, and we can work with that. His best attribute, of course, would be his sex appeal, his athleticism, and probably his star quality. Yeah, so 3 pretty decent things to kind of, work with to begin with. If those are 3 stats that are pretty solid, you've got the makings of being a fairly, decent star at some point. So we might even try and send him to the Nightmare Academy to try and boost up his stats and skills as well, just to try and get him moving along a little bit quicker. So the Winter is Coming edition of Dynamite, as we said, 78 rated. We had 960,000 viewers on TNT. I feel like it's a little underwhelming. I know we had 2 big matches on the card just to get 78. I thought we could have hit 80 plus, so I'm not overly too thrilled with that result. I just feel like we could have done better. NXT had a 76, so they tried to stack the deck as well, but we still were able to beat them as well. So yeah, I'm not too overly, that crash hot about it, but let's take a look at some of the popularity changes nonetheless. In particular, I just want to check out what happened with that big Nightmare Family in England segment. A lot of guys got a chance to have some talking time in that one. Nick Aldis up to 53. Not that really helps us, but when he does eventually lose to somebody on the way out, that can obviously help. A Go-Go, he's getting close to the 30s, so he's got 29 in the Southeast. So when we do have that match, he should be fairly decent when we get there. Kip Sabian, 34, 31, so he's still building nicely. Dustin Rhodes, close to 47 in most areas. That's okay, we can work with that. And then obviously Park, he's doing really well. Cody, he's going to have a big job of carrying that match, but he's up to 81 now, so that's good. And then Griff Garrison, mid-20s, that's not too bad. And Pillman Jr., slightly better, 35 in the Southeast, mid-20s everywhere else. And obviously Pinnacle had a similar segment. Sean Spears still can't get him to 40. Still cannot get him there. And obviously the rest of the group is always very, very strong. So that's kind of what we're working with at the moment. Obviously some of our other women, Anna Jay, they picked up another solid win. You can see Anna Jay now 40, nearly in every area, 41 in the Southeast. So it's been a pretty big growth for her, and it's come from this month. So I have a feeling that the inspiration may have really severely dropped away. Ty Conti, 36 now in the Southeast, mid to high 20s in the rest of USA, so that's pretty good. So let's have a look. Cassie and Lee, let's hope it's not too bad. 39-40 still, so a slight drop, nothing too crazy. Same with Jessie McKay. So they basically have put themselves on the same level as Anna Jay. So it's not too bad, but still, you don't want to sacrifice somebody to make another person, because you end up making nobody in the end. You just end up no better than what you started with. But on this occasion, the Inspiration only lost a couple of points, if that, and they've made Anna Jay basically one of the stars of the women's division. And Ty Conti, still lacking behind, but her Southeast stats is good enough to eventually will get her to the point where she'll be with Anna Jay at some point. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'll take that. But obviously, their next feud has to be against another heel tag team. Superbad is probably the only other choice we've got. So we really need to try and establish another heel team beyond that. Or maybe, of course, Shining Force or Brandy and Red Velvet. We can go a babyface route as well. There is that option. But there's no doubt about it, we probably need to try and figure out another women's tag team ASAP. Otherwise, there's not going to be anyone to kind of work with. Okay, moving on to AEW Dark, and on the pre-show we had the Gun Club cutting a promo for 35. I'm going to try and build the Gun Club up a little bit. Their popularity is pretty poor, and quite honestly abysmal, so I'm trying to see if I can maybe move them up out of the under 20s, get them into maybe mid-20s, mid-30s. Won't be on the priority list of things I want to accomplish, but it's something that I think would probably benefit the tag division if they just had a little bit more popularity. Abaddon with a promo as well, 37 for that one. Pretty good stuff actually from Abaddon. Again, I'd like to try and build her up to be a legitimate threat in the women's division. It's going to take a while though. She might not ever get there, but a good solid promo, that's something that we could probably work with. Darius Martin took on Allin Angels in a 36 rated match. Darius 34, Allin Angels 37. Not bad, pretty good stuff from all around from two guys who are lower on the card. Chance to see what they can do, and it wasn't too bad. Let's kick off the main show this week of Dark with the Private Party defeating the Wingmen. 54 rated match. Isaiah 60, Mark Quinn 57. That is some massive performances from those two guys. That is ridiculous. Peter Avalon 46, Cesar Bononi 29. Love that from the Private Party. Look, I realized they've got about 40 popularity, very close. So they're at that point where we can actually probably start investing a lot more in them and try and get them over, because it won't be such a battle. And the in-ring performances are so good, so talented. So I think we've got to start trying to get them back in the mix. That's what we're starting to do here. We want to give them a win. We're trying to move their momentum back in the right direction, and slowly but surely we'll start to try and do that here. Next up, we had Leo Rush buying his clients expensive gifts as they all shared drinks to celebrate their future success. So the portfolio all together for the very first time officially. Leo Rush buying watches, jewelry, you name it, probably cars. He's got all this money apparently. He's made all these great investments. Well, now he's wasting all his money and buying gifts, but he's trying to invest back into his group. 48 for the segment though, pretty good stuff. Liking what this group is going to bring to the table. It's got a nice mix. It's got a tag team there. It's got a woman in the group. Leo Rush, if we want to, we can use him in more of a singles wrestling role. We've got a lot of potential that we can accomplish with this group. And the Acclaim were never going to probably succeed as the only members of the group because they don't have enough popularity. But being associated with Jade, who's doing really well, and Leo, who has some decent starting popularity, gives them the best chance for success. So far, so good. Anthony Ogogo and Kip Sabian took on the Varsity Blondes. A bit of a preview of what is to come for the Team England and Team USA match. Ogogo and Sabian picked up the win. Kip Sabian 44, Ogogo 33, Pillman Jr. 42, and Griff 32. Some decent performances here. Obviously, Kip the best in the match. He's got the most popularity, no surprise. But Pillman Jr. pretty good as well. 43, look, that's okay. We can certainly work with that. And I think, they won't let us down too greatly in the big 8-man tag. Nyla Rose attacked Ruby Soho backstage during Ruby Soho's attempted interview. That's one of the, I suppose, angles that AEW does so much in real life, is they have someone try to do an interview and then they get attacked or distracted by someone and there's some sort of schmoz backstage. That is a common AEW segment, so we figured, why not do it here? Next up, the Inspiration complain about their loss to TJ. 56 promo from these two women. That is really, really good. They might be able to start getting 60 rated segments soon on a consistent basis, which would be massive for the division. Yuka Sakazaki took on Ali one-on-one. Ali grabbed the victory. thanks to Penelope Ford distracting Sakazaki. Not enough popularity between these two. I thought that could be the case. I was a little worried, but it still ended up bringing the match down. Yuka 41, Ali 37. So Yuka Sakazaki as a solo act is pretty good. 41. Lots of potential there. We gave Ali the win because I feel like we need to probably build Superbad up to face TJ next. So we just need to start getting them some wins. The Jurassic Express reflect on their loss to FTW. So they're not happy that they recently lost the tag match. Jungle Boy wants Ricky Starks one-on-one still, and that's kind of the direction we're heading. Luchasaurus, we need to fix up his gimmick. 66 is pretty good. Best Friends, Cassidy, Yuta, Trent, and Chuck took on and defeated the Butcher and Blade and TNT. 46 rated match. Best in the match was Orange Cassidy, no surprise, 58, but Best Friends 47 apiece. And Wheeler Yuta was okay as well, 37. Butcher and Blade the best on their team, of course. So again, we talked about how Best Friends, we see them as a tier 2 team, but we're not really utilizing them as such. So wanted to get them a match, wanted to get them a win to try and, turn their sorrows around a little bit. Jake Hager agrees to fight Will Hobbs again, 49 rated for his promo. Yeah, look, he's not a strong promo, and that's pretty evident here in this segment, 49. Not amazing, bringing the storyline heat down, unfortunately. Main event was Miro taking on Bobby Fish. This could be one of the best main events we've had on Dark. 72 rated. Well, no surprise, we put Miro in the main event here. He had an 82 rated performance. That is huge. Bobby Fish was great, 55. And again, Eddie Kingston coming along, distracting and interfering with Bobby Fish's business as well. So that will help the Bobby Fish and Kingston storyline out. So, I'm trying to improve the show quality of Dark. And someone like Miro, who's out of the mix at the moment, we can at least get him wrestling on Dark, getting him matches and helping him build up some other talent around him. Someone like Sammy Guevara and MJF, similar situation as well. We can have them work with some of the other, lower tier guys in the card, and maybe potentially could rub off on them a little bit. So, that's a chance for us to try and capitalize on that. That's what we're trying to do here with Miro and Fish, but also advance the storyline at the same time. So 72, pretty happy with that. And post-match, Eddie Kingston, Bobby Fish, they fight. So Eddie Kingston's had enough, Bobby Fish has had enough. These two finally just get it on, 57. So we're going to be heading towards this match very, very soon. I'm looking forward to it. I've liked the build up towards it. I think it's been, I can really see this being a really solid feud if it was to happen in the real, based on what we've been able to do, because we've had such a meaningful, a real meaning as to why these guys hate each other around that world title shot. So now we've been able to continue that on to each other's, each guy messing with each other's, future by making them lose matches. So it's done pretty well. Hopefully, I think it'll benefit both guys coming out of it. It gives us a 58 rated edition of Dark. Now on to Rampage, and on the pre-show, Killian King was defeated by Layla Hirsch, 34 rated. Got a chance to see Layla Hirsch shine here as we try and build her momentum a little bit, and she performed at 39, not too bad. Okay, to kick off the main show, Chris Jericho defeated John Silver in a 13-minute match, 65 rated here, as we tried to, spotlight John Silver a little bit here, but also continue on this Dark Order feud, giving Jericho a solid victory. So 65 is not bad. Jericho 79, Silver 34. It gained storyline heat, so that's fine. Post-match, the Dark Order failed to stop the Inner Circle's beatdown on Silver, 50 rated for that one. So we're really trying to get the Dark Order over a little bit here. We're happy to have this storyline not be, 75, plus rated in, storyline heat, simply because, if we run it a little bit lower, there's a chance we might actually be able to get something out of this storyline for the Dark Order. So that's what we're trying to accomplish with this one. Hangman Adam Page talks about his big win over Lance Archer, 82 for that one. Undecided if I want to do a rematch here. I mean, he lost cleanly, so probably not. But what is next for Adam Page? That's what we're going to try and figure out. Christian Cage with a victory over QT Marshall, 59 for that one. Both guys seemed off their game. That's not good. Christian 72, QT 31. So an easy win for Christian. Post-match, Sting and Christian Cage meet in the middle of the ring. They promo about their history, and they talk about their upcoming match. So we're setting the scene here for this upcoming. So post-match, Sting and Christian meet in the middle of the ring. They talk about their history together. Obviously, TNA, so much history there, a lot of matches there, and how Sting pretty much has got the better of Christian majority of the time. And they obviously talk about their upcoming match. So 80 rated in the end, as we try and set the scene and really build toward this match that'll be taking place in London next week. Ali, Penelope Ford and Jamie Hayter, super bad. They cut a promo on Shining Force, 37 for that one. Not too bad. Main event, Park and Dustin Rhodes went one-on-one for a 77 rated match. That is a lot better than I expected. Park with a huge carry, 83. God, he is good. Dustin Rhodes was solid, 47. Dustin seemed off his game. Yeah, I definitely think Dustin could have done a little bit better there. But nonetheless, a really solid win for Park as he gains one up on the Nightmare Family. Again, heading into the pay-per-view and obviously their next week's big England versus America match. 77 rated match is massive. It gives us a 70 overall show, which I will take. Okay, post Rampage and Keith Lee gets a job with PWG. Titus O'Neil will stay with the WWE. No interest for me to get Titus O'Neil. I just want to say he's 44. That's crazy. I don't even know, does he even wrestle anymore in real life? I have no idea. Still wrestles though in TW land, averaging 57, which is not bad for Titus. Good for him. We had 1 million viewers watch Rampage. We'll have a look a little bit more in depth how many watched it on TNT. It was 783,000. So our international audience is pretty good for Rampage. We've been able to get some better TV deals because the show is a little bit shorter. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. Obviously, next week's show will be the England and American match before we get to London. So we will be doing, Dynamite. I suppose, I didn't think about it. Rampage, still have to book that and have that. So I suppose that's got to be before the England show. Because what I've done is actually, for the first time, we're going to do some house shows. So I figured, if we're going to England, well, we may as well, do a little bit of a mini tour, as you probably would, and do some live events over there. So I was going to do them on Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, considering Saturday, that's the day of the pay-per-view. But I suppose Friday, maybe we can't do it then either, because we're going to be, obviously, doing the Rampage. But I suppose we could still probably do a show overseas, just not have as many guys available for it. I mean, that's a risk, but it's something we could probably think about. But nonetheless, we could always take that day off as well. But so that's kind of what we got planned there. Obviously, before we get to our London event, I want to have a quick little look at a few different things. Interesting to note, Lance Archer is now considered to be a major star, so he's joined the ranks of some of the top guys in the company after this Adam Page feud. So even though he took the loss, it's helped him out in that way. Christian ready for his big match with Sting, close to 73 pop, which is good. Park has been incredible. He's just having so many solid matches against everybody. He's up to 71, 72, so I really feel like he and Cody will tear the house down, even though it's in London. It may not be as good as it could be in the US, but it's certainly going to be a really good match, I feel still. So that's good. Sting, he's got 80 pop in the Southeast, which is great. And, high 70s majority of other places. So I feel like his popularity has improved again after a couple of good segments with Christian, which is good because we haven't used him that much as of late. So it's a good opportunity for him to boost that up a little bit there. Jake Hager, close to 60 again. I feel like we probably will have him put over Will Hobbs again and drop his popularity down a little bit more. Get Will Hobbs into the 40s in every area, 50 plus into the Southeast, which I think will be really solid for him. Dustin had a good match at Park. No real change to his popularity despite that. Eddie Kingston's been involved in some stuff. No real change for him. Bobby Fish had a good match. Again, no change with him despite a really good match with Miro. Cassie and Jesse, no change despite a solid promo. Jade, nothing there. So not a lot of improvement this week actually in a lot of different areas, which is a bit of a shame. I would have thought there's a chance that we might be able to get a bit of movement, but not to be the case. John Silver had a good match with Jericho. I don't really know John Silver's popularity off the top of my head, but it has been some small improvements in a couple of areas, so that's okay, you know. And we've been trying to have other guys, you know, featured as well, like Allin Angels, for example. We had Preston involved, but still we can't seem to get them into that 20. You know, when they're in the red with their popularity, if their popularity is red, that is not good. We're going to try and get them yellow and beyond, but we're having a bit of trouble with some of the guys there. Rio, surprisingly, her popularity is really solid, 35 in the Southeast. She's had some really big gains as of late, so once again, she's really, you know, surprising me there, and we've really got ourselves another solid tag team on our hands. We just got to get Yuka Sakazaki there as well, which we've made some solid progress already. And if we can get her into the 30s, then again, another really good tag team into the division, which is exactly what we need for the women. Lastly, Kip Sabian, 35 in the Southeast, so he's been picking up some wins. He's improved a couple of points this month in the Southeast, which is great. Anthony Agogo, wow, actually, he's improved quite a lot too, so he's now got 30 in the Southeast and 30 in a lot of other areas, 29. So it's 31 in the Southeast, sorry. So, you know, he needs all the popularity he can get. So ahead of this big match representing Park's team, you know, he's looking pretty good. He's never lost a match with us yet, so he's 14-0. So we've looked after him, we have, and that match that he just had with Kip Sabian, the Varsity Blondes, is actually the best match he's had in his career, 43 rated. Now, he was going to easily beat that one in this 8-man tag, but it's good to see he's making some progress. I feel like you have to kind of, you know, get him in the ring a lot more and try and develop him that way. He's 33 years of age. There hasn't got a lot of time you can really waste with him, otherwise you kind of don't get as much as you could out of him. His skills are pretty poor, but, you know, being around and associated with some top talent will probably be the way to kind of get him over, because at the moment with the Factory, he's their biggest star, and it's hard for someone who's so green to be the star of a faction. You know, you need obviously someone who can really carry him and make him look good in small doses, but you know, he's had to kind of carry the burden of actually being the only star in that Factory group, because Aaron Solo is certainly not there. Nick Camarado is certainly not there either, and QT, you know, he's the leader, but he's no star. So that's the big problem that the Factory's got, but it's good to see him making some progress, and we're actually going to get something out of this England and America storyline. We're actually going to get a couple of the lower guys over. Not that I have any plans for Kip Sabian, but a go-go, potentially, we could do something there down the line with him. The next time we'll come your way, we'll have the Royal Flush pay-per-view, or the build-up towards Royal Flush. It's 7 days away. We've got one last lot of shows before we get there. We've got to think of some new storylines. Obviously, Punk and Danielson out of the mix. Adam Page needs a new opponent as well. So we're going to start to think about, and the Elite, of course, needs some new opponents as well. So there's a few guys available that we can kind of work with for sure. So we'll have to think about which direction we're going to take. But some exciting times ahead nonetheless. Thanks, guys, for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.